let us discuss about the concept, the next concept, which is conditional column. Okay, the conditional column. So let us go with one small example. So let me go with one small example. So what is that small example? For example, we have visited one, there is a hospital, a big hospital, multi-speciality hospital, multi-speciality hospital. So what do we have in the multi-speciality hospital? 0 years to 99 years, the people are visiting that hospital. 0 years, probably like 3 months, 6 months, okay, from the kids, from the infants, okay, till 99 years, the patients are visiting. So there are many doctors available, different departments, orthopedics, different departments. So eyesight or dentist, neurologist, okay, different gynecologists. There are different types of doctors available in that hospital. And for this hospital, so you think there is a functional manager or operational manager. So for that functional manager, for that operational manager, what they are trying to do is they have reached out to the analyst. So what they have asked is like, so can you please let us know how many patients are visiting the hospitals? This hospital, how many number of patients, the count of patients, and also what is the age group there? Age group. I want to see the age group of the patients. Okay, age group of the patients. So I want to see age group of the patients. For example, when we go to hospital, what do? We fill the that form. Okay, they would ask what is the age, what is the name, what is the problem, and they test all. So at the time of the age, they are going to write the age. Okay, so that functional manager, they want to see what is which age group is visiting the hospital more. Okay, what do we need to do? We can't directly give 0 age, 1 age, 2 age, 3 age. So like that, it takes like many number of records. So this data is not in a summarized way. So what do we need to do here? So we need to go for grouping using the conditional column. What do? So we go for 0 to 3 years. What do? We go for writing infants, for example. I'm just taking for example. 4 to 10 years, okay, we can go for kids, okay. And the next one, 13 to 19, so we go for teenage. And 20 to 30 youth, for example, or adult. 20 to 35 adults. And the next one, 36 to 45 mid-age. 45 to 60, okay, 60 old age, for example. Okay, so what do? We write some conditional formatting. Okay, we write some conditional column. So how do we do that conditional? If age is in between or if age is less than or equal to 3, we go for another column name called as this filter is called as infants. If age in between or if age less than or equal to 10, kids. If age less than or equal to 19, teenage. If age less than or equal to 35, adult. So we write if else conditions. Or what do? In SQL, we write case statements. Case, when age less than or equal to 3, infants. So we use when condition, case statements. In SQL, what do? We use case statements. Case statements. So what do we write? Case when column 1 equal to something. Okay. Then what is the name? Name 1. And again, when column 1 equal to something. Okay. Next step. then. So what do we do? Then name to, and at the end, last, end as. Okay, end as. So we give the name, or we go for writing else condition. Else, else. What do you want to give? Name 3, name 3, and end as. What is the name of the column? Okay, name of the column. So like this, we write the conditional columns. We create conditional statements in the SQL. So how do we write in PySpark? Okay, we use the same thing. We use the same concept. So when we go for what is the column name, okay, whether we go for greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, then what do we do? Comma. So we go for giving what is the name. Okay, name 1, name 1. Again, we go for the same thing when column, okay, less than, greater than or equal to something. And here what do we do? Name 2, name 2. And what do we do? In place of writing else, okay, we go for otherwise. Okay, instead of writing else, we go for otherwise. And what do we want to add? We can go for giving the name again, dot alias. We can also go for giving the name as alias, the new name, new column name. So this is how we write the conditional columns in PySpark. So if you observe here, so what we are trying to do, so we use the same thing, the if, elif, else of the columns. Okay, we can directly go for when condition. When the unit price greater than or equal to 100, then make it large. Unit price greater than or equal to 80, medium. Otherwise, I mean in the else condition, so instead of using else, we use otherwise. Okay, so if, how does it work? So based on the numbers, yes, whatever the numbers that is greater than 100, equal to 100, then it goes like large. 80, medium, otherwise small. If it doesn't fall in between 80 and 100, less than 80, then everything is small. So let us see that in here. So let me come down at the last one, last cell. So here let me write conditional column. Conditional column. Okay. So how do we start with conditional column? First of all, let me do display df underscore sales. Let's check whether it is displaying the data or not. Okay, df underscore sales is not defined. So let me go here. So let me click on execute this again. Maybe probably we took 15 minutes for the explanation. So that is the reason it is turned off. Okay. And if you see, let me scroll down and come here. Let me click on execute. Yes, now we are able to see the data. What do we have in here? So we have something like unit price. Okay. So what do we need to do? We need to segregate the unit price. Okay. How do we segregate the unit price? So let us see that. df underscore sales dot, if you want to select the columns, we can go for selecting the columns. Select. So let me go for transaction ID, comma. So what is the next thing? Let me go for unit price, comma. Go for the promotion ID. Okay. Let me click on enter. F dot sales, F dot when. Okay. So we can go for F dot when and F dot call. So what do we need to do? We can go for unit price. Unit underscore price. So what do we do here? Here we go for greater than or equal to 100. If the unit price greater than or equal to 100, make it large. Okay, make it large. So if you see, so we are directly getting otherwise small. Okay, let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Okay, F is not defined. So what do we need to do? So let me go to the first session. Okay, let me click on execute. Yes, it is executed. let me come down. So when we leave this environment idle for 15 minutes, so it is going to freeze out. Okay, now you see column case. Okay, we got something, but we did not see, we are not able to see that output. So let me click on show. Okay, so let me click on execute this. Okay, now we got the transaction ID and what is the unit price, product ID, and the size category. So what do we see here? So whatever the data, whatever, if you see greater than 100, so what do we have? So whatever we have, so here we are able to see that size category, whether it is small, if you see large, 140, which is greater than 100. Okay, this is what we have it. So we can write the conditional formatting or conditional columns by using when condition. And we need to specify the column and whether what is the column, what is that number it falls under, and else condition otherwise. For example, if I want to go for another condition, okay, another condition. So let me click on enter. Okay, F, okay, there is no need of dot when. Okay, let me go for another condition. So dot when, F dot call, F dot call. So let me copy this. Yes, we are getting the, what is that suggestions. Let me click on the tab. Okay, so the previous one was only the single condition. So now we got more than one condition. So let me click on execute. Yes, now we are able to see. So small, okay, 20 small, 40 small. So now we are able to see the next condition also. Okay, this is about the first conditional column. The next one is, okay, so we use another column, another function called as coalesce. Coalesce. Okay, so what does it do? So it is going to return the first, I mean, returns the, it can fill the data. Okay, it is used for filling the data. So what we can do here, we can go for f dot coalesce. Okay, so what we can do, we can go for promotion ID. So we can go for promotion underscore ID. Okay, if it is null, okay, if it is null, sorry. So what we can do, we can go for f dot lit. So if it is no promo, then no underscore promo. So what do we get? We can go for writing alias promo. So we can go for writing promo. Okay, we can go for writing promo. Let me click on execute this. So let's see whether it executes or not. So, okay. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to get this df dot, or we can directly mix this. So we can directly go here. We can put the comma and we can, so here at the end, I can put the comma and I can give the coalesce. Okay. So let me take off one bracket, I think. Promo. Okay. So when it is empty, okay, when it is, the next thing is that we can fill the nulls. Okay. F dot when. So we can go for F dot call promotion ID. Okay. We can go for promotion underscore ID. Okay. If it is null, if it is null, so what do we need to do? Comma true. Okay. Otherwise, okay, otherwise we can go for false and we can go for promo flag. Okay, let me take this off. Let me take this off. So let me click on execute. Okay, here also we are getting the same thing. So what is that f dot Wallis promotion ID? Okay, here we are missing something. So we need to go for come. So let me click on execute this. 13. Let me take this one. Are we missing any bracket? Okay, we can do one thing. So we can directly ask to generate this. Let me click on accept. Okay, let me click on execute this. Okay, so if you see here, so it is giving us the promo flag. Okay, so if it is null, okay, what it is doing? So if it is null, okay, it is going to fill the missing promotions, and it is giving the promotion ID. If it is null, then make it true, else false. Okay, so if you see here, if it is null, so what it is doing? It is showing no promo. So that is what it is doing. So this is about the conditional column. You can work around with the different kind of the conditions. You can implement different kinds of conditions. Then I'll give you some assignments. You can go through that assignments and you can see. Are we good? Okay. So let's see the next one. So what is the next thing is next concept is, so it's aggregate functions and group by. So let's see what is aggregate functions and group by. So what is aggregate functions? So if you see the data, why do we need to aggregate? Okay, the first and foremost question is why aggregation is required when we work. Okay, most used concept, regularly we use these aggregate functions in Power BI, in SQL, and also in the PySpark. So most of the times we use it in the SQL. Okay, generally in order to analyze the data, we go for aggregate functions. Okay, so what are all the aggregate functions? So there are the aggregate functions are sum, minimum, maximum, count, average. So these are all the aggregate functions. So direct straightforward, we know what is the sum. So it is going to add all the row data. Okay, add all the data in a row. When we are dealing with the integer data type, number data type, when we go for sum of that column, so it is going to add all the rows and give the output. Minimum, yes, we get the minimum number. Maximum, yes, we get the maximum number out of the column. Count, it is going to count the number of records. Average, it is going to give the average of that particular column. So if you see, why do we need to go for grouping the data? Why do we need group by column or group by function? Okay. So for example, if you take, okay, for example, if you take, there are many regions, there are many countries, there are many, for example, let us take the live example. Okay, let us take the live example of the organization. So what do we have? The hierarchy: CEO, CFO, CTO, and CIO. Okay, executive officer, finance, technology, and information officer. Okay. So what we have, these CEO, they are going to interact with the vice presidents. Okay. What we want to see, what we want to give them is like CEO want to see the number of employee working under the vice president. Okay. So each department, there is a vice president. Vice president 1, vice president 2, vice president 2, vice president 3, vice president 3. And under each and every vice president, there are general manager. General manager 1, general manager 2, general manager 3. Under the general manager, there are managers. Manager 1, manager 2, manager 3. Under the manager, there are team leaders, TL1, TL2, TL3. Under the team leaders, employees, employee 1, employee 2, employee 2, employee 3. So if you take, for example, the CEO said, I want to see the employees working under the vice president, the count of employees working under the vice president. So what do we do? So, I mean, or if he wants to see the number of vice presidents, yes, he can see the number of vice presidents are 4. Only vice presidents 4. Sum of vice presidents group by vice presidents, or any, if you have any column, so we can get the 4 number. And if he wants to see the next level data, the CEO wants to see the next level. Yes, I want to see the number of general managers under each and every vice president. Yes, he can see the people. The next level data, managers under the general manager. Yes, he can see. Team leaders is the last level data. Sorry, employees is the last level data. Okay, this is the first level. This is the second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, and the last one is sixth level. Okay. So when we go for sum of vice presidents, yes, that is the second level. Yes. So simple, so easy. There are 4 or 5 or 10 vice presidents in the organization. Now he wants to see the next level data. Okay. What is that? General manager 1, general manager. Who are all the general managers working under the vice presidents? Yes. So for John, yes, 3 general managers. For Michael, 4 general managers. For Phillips, 5 general managers. Yes, till general manager, yes, it is good. Okay. And he wants to see the next level data. Manager, manager 1, manager 2, manager 3. Yes, he can see. Team leader and employee is the last one. Okay. In order to see the each and every level data, okay, what do we use? Okay, we go for group by concept. And group by comes with the combination. Okay, always remember, always remember that when we use aggregate function, okay, it is important to use group by function. Okay, when we use aggregate functions, it is important to know to use group by function. In the SQL, what do we do when we go for select? Okay, when we go for selecting the columns, when we select the dimension column, dimension 1, dimension 2, sum of sales, okay, from table, what do we need to do here? We need to definitely use group by dimension 1, comma dimension 2. So what do we get? We get the dimension 1, dimension 2, comma sales table, sales data. So that is the group by. Always remember. So when we use the dimension, okay, when we use the dimension, so when we use the dimension 1, dimension 2, we need to use the same thing in here in the group by. Okay, we need to use the same thing in the group by. Always remember, when we use the aggregate function, aggregate and the group by functions are like twins. Okay, they are like a twins. When we use the aggregate functions, group by function should always include. Do not forget this. Okay, so group by function is used to give the summarization of the data. Okay, group by function is used to give the summarization of the data, overall data. When you go for a country, when you go for example, in the India, the population is 1.4 billion. What I'm saying, I'm saying the population of only India, overall population. When we go for the next level population, okay, for example, 1.4 billion population, overall data, I'm not giving the explicit state wise data, the country 1.4. I want to see the state wise data, okay, group by state, okay, each and every state, okay, state 1 25 crores, state 2 30 crores, state 3 50 crores, okay, that is the state level data. No, I want to see the district level data also under each and every state. Yes, the next level we go for, like the next level, okay, and again the next level. So what do we have in here? Again the next level, okay. So whatever we see the higher level, we go for group by. So this is about the group by. So how do we implement the group by? Okay, how do we implement the group by? We go for writing the aggregate functions, okay, and we implement the group by. Okay, this is how we go. df dot group by. Which column we want to group by? The column name. This is the column name. Okay, this is the column name. And what are all the aggregation functions that we want to implement? Okay, simple. What is group by? Buckets, the summarization of the data, okay, and sorting the data. Okay, it is just used for summarization of the data. Let us see with one example. You will easily understand. Let us see with one example. df underscore. So it's a case sensitive df underscore sales. Okay, dot group by. Okay, so what do we need to do? Which column do we need to go for group by? So let us go for transaction ID. Okay, for now, let me go for transaction ID. Let me click on enter. Yes, let me go for a tab. Okay, dot group by, open the bracket. Okay, sorry, dot aggregate. Okay, how do we implement the aggregate function? In SQL, it is so straightforward. So if you want to implement the aggregate, sum of the column, sum, column minimum, column maximum, column. But here what we need to do is we need to go for dot aggregate. Okay, open the bracket, f dot. So here we can go for implementing the functions. Okay, f dot sum. So we can go for unit price, unit underscore price, dot, okay, alias total price. Okay, let me click on, let me go for total price, total underscore price, total underscore price. Okay, and after that, what we can do? So here we can go for enter dot. Again, here we can go for sum of quantity. Okay, f dot, f dot. Again, we can go for sum of quantity, and we can go for alias, alias total quantity, total underscore quantity. So here what we can do, the next thing, we can go for show. Okay, here we can go for show. So let me click on execute. Okay, here also we got the same thing. Are we missing anything? F dot sum quantity, or let me go for taking this off. Or we can do one thing. We can directly give it in a single. Okay, again, df underscore sales is not defined. So what we can do, we can go here again. So let me come down and execute this. And I think it would also go. Let me also execute this. So let me come down. So here, let me go for executing this. Okay. So now we got the transaction ID and what is the total price. So here what I can do, here let me click on enter. Okay, let me click on execute this. Okay, we are not able to see that. So let me go here. Let me click on execute. Okay, here we are getting the indentation. So for solving this indentation, what we can do is we can go for asking the genie. Okay, don't worry about that. So we have the genie to help. So let me click on this. Let me click on generate. So we clicked on a tab. Okay. So let me click on accept. So here instead of showing, it is directly giving us the display. Display. Probably this is a tab, I think. Okay. Let me come down. Click on the tab. Yes, it is a tab. And when we are going for the second line, the next line, so it is taking two tabs. Okay, it is taking two tabs. Now, if you see, we are able to aggregate the data. But here, if you see, let me go for only display of the sales. Let's see whether we have any dimension information or not. Display sales. Let me see whether we have any dimension data or not. So if you see here, we do not have any dimension data, promotion ID, quantity. Yeah. So after joining the tables, we can go for taking any dimension data so that we get the dimension. We can directly enter the dimension data over here and we get the dimension data. Okay. So this is sum. Okay. So what we can do, so the way we are doing the same thing, we can also go for taking this, a comma. So let me go for f dot sum. Instead of sum, we can go for minimum unit price. So here I can go for minimum unit price. So let me go for f dot. Yes, we are getting. Let me click on the tab. We have got directly. Okay. So what we are trying to do, we are taking the minimum, taking the maximum, average, count distinct, which is used for counting the distinct product IDs. Okay, count distinct is like count only the distinct product ID. If you remember from the previous session, so there are 32 product IDs. If you remember, so there are two product IDs which are duplicated, and also the count of product ID. Now you see, you will understand once we click on execute. So you will understand the count. Oh, what is that? What happened? Okay. So we got transaction ID, total price. Where is the count? The next one. Okay, we have it. We need to scroll down. What happened? Why others? Okay, instead of display, let me go for show. Unexpected indentation. Block. Okay, just a second. Group by f dot aggregate f dot minimum. Transaction ID dot aggregate f dot sum. Okay, that's right. unexpected indentation. Yes. So now we got the output. So if you see, now we have got all the data. What is the distinct product and what is the total product? So if you see this transaction, so we have two products. T001, there are two products for this transaction. So another one, do we have any other one? I think only one product that we have. So which has two products. Okay, this is about the aggregate functions. So when we use the aggregate functions, so what is the thing that we need to remember? Group by, we need to remember the group by concept. Click on execute. I think now it is running. Yes. Now if you see what we have got, the first name has become uppercase. And if you see here the third record, so we have like Vivan, okay, Vivan Verma. So where we have a leading space. Okay, leading means before, trailing means after the text, before the text and after the text. So what do we do now? So let me go for taking this off. Okay, let me go for taking this off and give the comma. So let me go for entering something like this. Okay, yes, now let me go for f dot. Okay, f dot init cap. Okay, what is the next step we are trying to do? We are trying to trim. Okay, f dot trim. So we have like in the SQL, we have like trim function, and also there is a specific function called as L trim and R trim, left trim and right trim. So here what do we do? So let me go for trimming the last name, last underscore name. Okay, or we can also go for email. Okay, let's see with the email. Email. Let me go for giving the email. Okay, dot we can go for alias. Alias. So what we can do? Clean the text, clean the mail, clean the email. Okay, so here what do I do? Again, I'll go for show. Okay, 5 records. Okay, so let me click on execute. Okay, I think is it a backslash or this slash? Let me check. Uh, okay. Yes. Now, if you see, let me scroll to the right side. Now, what we are able to see? We are able to see 0. But what is that? Okay. So we are not able to see 5 times zeros. Okay. We are not able to see 5 times zeros. But why it is not 5 times zeros? Okay. Let me go for uh, 6. Okay. 8. Let us go with 8. Okay. We got only 4. When I gave 8, we got 4. I'll check that. Okay. I'll check that. Okay. Let me ask Genie. Okay. What we can ask? Okay. Can I take this and ask it to explain? Let me check. Okay. Explain. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know whether it works to explain or not. No, it is not working to explain. Okay. Let me click on reject. Okay. So these are all about the text functions. Either you can give the display or you can write a show. Okay. Any doubts? Any doubts? So I can go for LPAD in. So we also have it in SQL in PySpark. Let me go for LPAD in PySpark. Okay. To left to pad. Okay, we can add the string. Okay, we can add the string. So what does it take? It takes the column length and pad. Okay. And let us go with one thing. ID 5 comma 0. What is the output? So it is giving zeros. ID column exactly 5 characters wide. Okay. Maybe it is making the number of characters. Okay. It is making 6 characters or 8 characters with adding the zeros. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Yes. Okay. This L pad is trying to make 8 character text string. The whole padded ID becomes 8 characters. It's not like adding 8 zeros to a text. It is like adding 4 zeros and making it to 8 characters. So that is L pad.